I'm going to tell you something you might not want to hear, Lions fans. And I think we just need to get used to it. And we need to understand that this is something that's going to happen. And that is the quarterback position is going to continually be mocked to the Detroit Lions. Now, before you close this video, I'm going to tell you why it's going to continue to be mocked to the Detroit Lions. And it's not because the national media doesn't know what they're talking about. It's not because they're out of touch. It's because of multiple reasons. One of them is that it's the most important position in the game. We all have fallen in love with Jared Goff, especially over the last 9 games of the regular season. But halfway into this regular season, every single one of us wanted to mock a quarterback to the Detroit Lions, whether it was with our pick when we were 1-6 and the number one overall pick, or whether it was with the Rams pick as they started to lose and we started to win. We still wanted to mock a quarterback. But there's more to it than that. So I want to start by showing you a mock draft on Tankathon. And here's why you need to understand what the reason for these people mocking a quarterback to us are. First, let's start with our 6th pick. Then we're going to move into the 18th pick. And I just want to explain to you why this is happening. So right here, they have Will Anderson going 1, Bryce Young going 2, Carter 3, Stroud 4, and then they have the Seahawks taking Myles Murphy. Here's the deal with the positions. In the position game, you have 2 players that are seemingly far above all the other players. That is Will Anderson, edge out of Alabama, and Jalen Carter, D-line, they put him, but D-tackle out of Georgia. Behind that, there is a large drop-off. Okay, whether you're talking Murphy, whether you're talking Wilson, whether you're talking Brian Breesy, these guys have already been moving all over the place. Now, then we need to go look at the cornerback position. I have seen a ton of mock drafts where this guy, way down here, Christian Gonzalez, who's mocked to go 17 to the Steelers, has been picked at number 6 by the Detroit Lions. I've seen Quentin or Kaylee Ringo mocked to us. We don't want him right now. I've seen Joey Porter Jr. at corner mocked to us. I've seen all these guys mocked to us in that spot. So here's what I'm saying. If Will Levis is still available at quarterback, and the Detroit Lions believe Will Levis is their guy, and I got more on Anthony Richardson coming up, and I got some very unique scouting info for all of you. But if Will Levis is still available and we believe that he's the quarterback of the future, are you telling me the Detroit Lions aren't going to take him at 6? They might. They might. If they believe he's the quarterback of the future, they let him sit for a year or 2, give him the Patrick Mahomes treatment. It has been proven to be the best way to produce good quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. We have a lot of these guys who have sat for a year and then really started to play well. So let's keep going down all the way to the 18th pick, because if we took Will Levis with the 6th pick, I'm telling you, one of these corners is available. Joey Porter Jr., Cam Smith, Christian Gonzalez. There's a guy, Devon Witherspoon. They have him down at 29 here. He is flying up draft boards. One of these guys will be available at 18. But what if we don't? What if we stick with exactly what everybody wants us to stick with, and we maybe go corner at 6? Okay. Or maybe we go Tyree Wilson, like it's mocked in this mock draft. We go Tyree Wilson at 6. What about pick 18? What if Anthony Richardson is still sitting there? You still have 2 second-round draft picks. You can get 2 more defensive players. You can go defense, 3 out of the first 4 picks, a first-rounder and 2 second-rounders. You can still address the defensive need, but you can possibly take care of your quarterback of the future. Now, let's start talking about what a lot of the arguments would be against drafting a quarterback. Now, again, I'm not saying I'm all for drafting a quarterback, but what a lot of people say is Jared Goff is the future. Okay, fine. Let's talk about Jared Goff as the future. Here's what that looks like. Jared Goff, 29, I think he is, years old, has 2 more years on his contract. So he's 31 years old. You're giving him a 5-year deal worth 200 million. I think he's going to at least be in that low 40s range. I don't think he's going to be getting 50 million like some of the quarterbacks are now. Who knows? If he puts together another 2 ridiculous years, he might. But let's just be conservative and say 40 million. You give him a 5-year, $200 million contract, and he ends that contract as old as Stafford is now, maybe older. Right. So you look at that, and while there are some quarterbacks who are absolutely playing well into their late 30s, not all of them are. Not all of them are. So is that what you want to be? Do you want to be hamstrung to a quarterback? Is he the guy that can get you over the top while paying him 40 to $50 million? I don't know. So if you go on the quarterback route like Anthony Richardson, you let him sit this year, maybe next year. And if he's your guy, you're good. And then you place him in and you're still playing. You buy yourself 3 years at a cheap quarterback contract. You buy yourself 3 years and you can surround him with an even better team than the one we have now, because there's even more cap space, because we're currently paying Jared Goff $30 million a year. Okay, so let's do this. The other naysayers, they would say, okay, no. Let's kick the can down the road another year. We understand we need a quarterback in the future. Let's just kick the can down the road another year. Okay, so we kick the can down the road another year. What draft resources do we have next year? It's not so easy just to be like, no. We'll wait till another year and we'll get Caleb Williams from USC. Caleb Williams is probably going to be the number 1 overall pick next year. I mean, for sure a top 5. So you're sitting here saying, oh, let's go take Caleb Williams. What? If this season is any indication of what next year is going to be, we're going to be picking in the mid-20s. That's our hope. Our hope is that we're a playoff team. So the earliest pick we could have is 19. That's not going to work. We can't just kick the can. I think people have to realize that it's there. Kyle Shanahan of the San Francisco 49ers said earlier this year, there are not 32 players that are capable and should be paid like an NFL starter in this league, but 32 people are. And he also added, I just have 2 of them. I believe I have 2 of them on my team. But he's saying there's not 32 quarterbacks. We have one of them. We have one of them. But here's the thing about San Francisco. They got Trey Lance waiting in the wings. Brock Purdy even. Who knows? Let's look back at the other teams that understood that they had a good quarterback, but not a great quarterback. I think of teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. They were making the playoffs with Alex Smith under Andy Reid. So what did they do? Alex Smith was fine. He probably had another 4 or 5 good years. In fact, he ended up playing, without the injuries, right? He ended up playing, but they said, no, we think we can be better. So they drafted Patrick Mahomes, a guy that they knew was going to take some time. They weren't sure what they had in him. So they get Patrick Mahomes. Alex Smith plays another year. Thank you very much. We have a good team, playoff team surrounding our second-year quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, who is going to take us to new heights. That is the way to play this thing. That's the way to play this thing, to let a quarterback learn under a quarterback that's already good. If teams don't do that, there are examples across the league of teams that stuck with mediocre quarterbacks and nothing ended up coming of it. Tennessee Titans, playoff team, 3, 4, 5 years in a row? All right. That's great. Ryan Tannehill, not a horrible quarterback, but he didn't get him over the hump. So I'm not saying Jared Goff can't be that guy. I want to make sure you hear me saying, like, that's not it. By the way, Kirk Cousins, hello, right? There are these types of quarterbacks all over the place. So unless you have a Josh Allen, unless you have a Patrick Mahomes, unless you have a Justin Herbert, unless you have a Joe Burrow, unless you have, I know I'm missing people. There are like 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the league where it's like they are elite. They are in a league above everyone else. And I'm talking more younger talent here, but they're in a league away from everyone else. Then there's 10 to 15 guys that are in the Jared Goff camp. They move up and down. They don't break the top 5, but they're also good quarterbacks. Maybe you could throw Jalen Hurts in there. I don't know. But those teams aren't the favorites when it comes time. So if you're with Jared Goff, you can still win. You're going to be like the 49ers were last year with Garoppolo. You have to put a phenomenal team around him in order to win, and that's okay. Maybe the Lions believe they can do that. I get that, and that's smart. But even the 49ers understood Jimmy G, in about the same age he is now, that Goff will be when the next contract time is time to happen. Even they realized we need to get a young quarterback to train up under him. Sure, it made Garoppolo upset, but it worked out for the 49ers, didn't it? They're doing okay. They're doing just fine. And we're going to see them, I think, play the Cowboys this weekend. So we're going to see what happens there. 49ers are in good shape. That's what the Lions need to look to. So I'm not saying we have to draft a quarterback. I'm just saying people are mocking quarterbacks to us because they know Brad Holmes is smart. They know that quarterback is a very, very important position. And if they think that they can improve on it, now is the year where we have the assets and there are good enough quarterbacks available in order to take. That's why it's being mocked. We'll talk more about this, but that's why it's happening. Don't get super offended. Just realize it's happening for those reasons. All right. We'll see you on the next one. Hit that subscribe button below.